Yes,
we're picking up on the thing
we
about
are.
knowing when, knowing when to say no, why communication is important. And we wrapped things. This was really great because it was such a wonderful segue. Tone, you were talking about, if you're in a relationship with it, let's say you're in a
Mhm.
relationship with an individual and it doesn't feel, I was like, God, this
Oh,
just
yeah.
doesn't feel right. Maybe,
Right.
maybe the thing to do is let them
Yeah.
know. And and I say maybe because sometimes there's just
Hmm.
maybe it's our own issues that are making the relationship not work. You know,
That's absolutely.
everybody
Yes.
shows up. The relationship
Yeah.
is the resort destination, and the people who come all have
Right.
their own baggage.
Right.
Always.
That's absolutely
Always.
true.
And sometimes
Always.
it's us and not them. But when it is them, letting them know as soon as possible is really a smart practice. And I think when I think about this, that's applicable across the board, whether we're talking about an interpersonal relationship, we're talking about a friendship, a business partnership, a business relationship, a work relationship, a company we work for, an event we go to. How many times have we either dialed into a call, attended a seminar either virtually or in person, and you're like, yeah, this is not for me. And you leave. You have to leave.
Right.
Because if you stick
Yeah.
around, you're you're showing intent. And
Uh,
I think that leads to misinterpretation.
yes. Yeah. Among other things, of course. And your brain might explode because you go like, how am I going to get out of here? Just everything about this place where I am right now, I don't want to be here. What
Correct.
I want to go.
Correct.
And how do you do it in a graceful way? Sometimes you have to. Yeah. But okay, that aside. Yes, it's very important to speak your mind in a relationship, of course, but also anyway, anytime, because I'm not sure if we addressed this before, but I guess we did. Well, if it's always you always have to make sure that you bring your part to uh, giving somebody else a great day.
Yes.
And it's
I'm a
very
big
easy
fan of
to,
that.
yeah, yeah, you told me that. I was very, if you're in a store or something, just be genuinely genuine. And if you go like, hey, how are you today?
Hmm.
But do it in a sincere way. Anybody can say that, but do you mean it? And are you prepared to wait for the answer? We
Yeah,
talked
well,
about this one
yes,
before.
and that right there, I am a big believer in the fact that if you're asking a question like how are you doing, you better be invested. Because if you ask me how am I doing, if you ask me how's it going,
Yeah,
there have been plenty of times where I'm out in a public environment, whether, maybe I'm at a food truck event, I'm walking down the street, and I've done this. I'm walking down the street and someone's
yeah.
approaching me and there's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I will stop and I'll start talking to the back. Actually, it's going pretty well. I've had a great day. I had an awesome breakfast, and I got to tell you, I recommend people go to this place. And they're just looking at us like, "You asked me, how's it going?" And part of that literalness I took from the Dutch because I'll never forget the very first time I said to someone, and it was Leon. I said to Leon, I
Yeah.
said, "Hey, let's catch up later." And he goes, "Okay, when?" Because in America, you friggin' say, "Let's
Yeah,
catch
let's
up
just,
later." That could be later today, it could be next year.
yeah.
Oh, Leon
Yeah,
goes,
let's do
"Okay,
this.
when?"
Bye. Right.
And I went, "Oh,
That's the
yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, how about 4 o'clock?" So,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So being intentional with your words and
Yeah.
your communication,
Yeah.
not only do people appreciate that, but
They
you
do.
avoid hitches later by doing that.
Right.
And I think I
Yeah,
think
and
sometimes
also,
people,
yeah, go on.
okay, I think sometimes people are nervous about that because they feel that kind of directness can be offensive. And
Confronting.
I
Yeah,
said, I say to them,
it can be. Yeah,
it's more offensive to not say a word and then have to find a way to wiggle out of it later because
yeah,
now you're doing more damage. Now you're
yeah,
doing more
right.
damage.
Yeah. Well, there's two things that pops into my mind. The first thing is that if you're meeting someone casually, or you're at a register or the
Yes,
cashiers, and you go like, or they say to you, "Well, you have a nice day." You can say two things. Yeah, you too. Or you can say, "Thanks. I appreciate that." Same to you. That's the difference. It's if you go like, "Yeah, have a nice day." Yeah, you too. It's different from saying thank you. You
correct.
know, accepting the well wishing,
Yes,
the well wishes.
because
Yeah.
people
Oh, there
want
was a
that.
second one. Wait. There was a second one. The other day, I was at work, and there was this girl who worked with us for a long time, and she's one of the show team. And as I'm not longer a member of the show team, as like performing, I do the tech, as you know,
Hmm.
and so I hardly know the girl. And last week, we that was the first time we actually worked together, and we went to lunch. And I said, you know what? I know you, but I don't really know you at all. So who are you? I said it. She looked at me, going, I said, okay, wait. I'm going to tell you who I am first. So I started talking about who I am, where I'm from, how many brothers, my mom and father, what was he doing for a living, and blah blah. I told him all things in like an overview of who I am. And she started talking to me as well, and it was a very nice conversation. And I liked it, and I'm sometimes being an ass about it, I know, but I like being go around the small talk and go like,
Well,
who are you
but
actually?
it's
See,
not.
because you can talk, right? You can talk about a lot of different different stuff
Yeah, but
if you
that kind
hardly
of
talk to anybody.
that
But it's
kind
but
of
it's a nice segue.
yeah, that kind of small talk isn't so small because it's the details that make the picture.
I mean, instead of the small talk, you can do stuff like that,
Yeah.
like start talking
Oh,
to
yeah,
them
yeah,
and
yeah,
go like,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I prided myself in the fact that whenever I'd go into a green room at Disney, I made
yeah,
sure I knew the people, but I also knew about their lives. I knew what was happening personally
yeah,
in
yeah,
their
yeah.
lives. And I think that's really important
Yes.
because when you invest in that, they realize they're more than just a face and a number. And for example, you've heard me say this, if you go out to a restaurant, you go shopping, you go somewhere, I will say to someone, thanks for being here. And
Yeah,
it means and sounds different when your boss or your manager says it to you, like, thanks for being here
right.
because, I need to run the operation. But for me,
Yeah, yeah,
if I'm paying for something, if I'm getting rung out, whatever's
right.
going on, and I'll say, thanks for being
Yeah,
here. If they say, well, I didn't have a choice, I said, you always have a choice.
yeah.
You always have a
Well,
choice. And, when you talked about going out with your colleague and you said, okay, I don't really know you. So I've done a bunch of one-on-ones, especially with this networking group I used to be a part of. And I found that people were in two boats. In the one boat, they want to learn about you, they want to share, and they want to find commonalities. In the other boat, they only want to talk about themselves. And for those people, and I've had some one-on-ones with people like that, I will ask them questions and I will lead them to continue talking. And then at the end of the hour or whatever, they'll go, wow, I mean, I did all the talking. I don't know anything about you. That was intentional because
right.
I got the impression right away, the first time I ever did this, this individual only cared about talking about herself. This individual only cared about every opportunity to sell themselves. No, don't sell me, just talk to me.
Yeah.
But when I saw
Right.
that they weren't interested in getting to know anything about me, I was like, okay, you don't
Right.
deserve to get to know about me. And I was okay with that. And she said at the end of this talk, she's like, "Wow, we're good. Next time we have to talk, and you've got to do the talking." I was like, "Sure." I'm walking away thinking, "There's no way we're not sitting down to talk again," and we never did. And and part of the eye-opening lesson for her was when
Yeah.
we all sat down at the table for our meeting, all of these people was like, "Yeah, it's really cool. Ron's a stuntman, and he's a writer, and he's all of these things." Like, wow, I didn't. Yeah, we never. It's like that's right, because you did
Yeah.
all the talking.
Yeah.
So
And
that's a great
ah,
opportunity.
that's yeah.
It's a great opportunity to learn about people, and it's
Yeah.
also a great opportunity to learn about whether or not that's someone you want in your life, and if you do, what circle, right? That innermost
Mm,
circle, those I
mm.
jokingly say the difference between a friend and a good friend is a friend will help you move and a good friend will
Right.
help you move the body.
That's funny.
So
That's funny.
the
Yeah.
people in your inner circle, those good friends, those are
Yeah.
the ones that when they're in there, I I can call you at 2 in the morning. You can call me at 3 in the morning. If you need
Right.
something, I am there. If I need something, you are there. But then these
Yeah.
other people, you figure out where are they in that circle? How far out do they go? It's
Right.
like the infinity version of Dante's Inferno, right? How far out are you? Which level are you? And for some of those people, you're outliers. I'll run into you at events. We'll talk. We'll be social. We'll connect because we've had the opportunity to talk. But I'm not going to hire you for work. I'm not going to reach out to you if I need something because I don't think you're reliable. And I think it's important for us as people and for our mental health and our social health that we are willing to recognize the people that are good for us and the people that aren't.
Yeah. So I really like that people give you the impression that you're part of the inner circle, and they say you are, but their actions
Say that.
say
Yeah,
something
that's
different.
right.
You know, they go, "Oh yeah, you're one of my best friends." Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the other day, so and so happened, and okay. You're thinking that, right? You don't say it, but you think it. You're like, oh yeah, we missed your wedding, mate. I'm so sorry, but from this day forward, for this year forward, we're always going to be there at any wedding anniversary. From this day forward, we'll always be there. No. Well, if you don't mean it, don't say it.
No, I agree.
I hate that.
Yeah, I
Really
don't.
don't.
I
Yeah.
I I call it ether talk or pillow talk. In the moment, people are feeling the thing, and they really.
Yeah.
I have said to individuals before, if I actually got the
Right.
gig that everybody, whoever said, dude, I've got a project coming up and I'm calling you for it. If I
Right.
ever got every single bit of work, I would
Yeah.
own a private island somewhere because
Yeah.
I would have been a working fool. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes people mean well, and I think other times it's just
Yeah.
easier for them to say the thing that they think is easy to say, and they
Right.
never have any intention of following up. And your
Right.
point as
Yeah.
well, there were a group of individuals that I had always believed I was very close to, and I'd known them for a very long
Right.
time. And you and I have talked
Yeah.
offline about them, and there was a get together that happened, and I was not
Mm.
invited. And I asked why. I said, was
Mm.
it an oversight or was it intentional? And I finally got
Mm.
someone to say, well, it was so and so's thing. So she was in. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
So basically, no one
Right.
said, why isn't Ron here? And no one
Right.
suggested Ron be invited. You are all by association pieces of crap, and I'm not interested. And it made it clear to
Not
me,
anymore. No.
it made it clear to me that the relationships
Right.
were valued differently. I felt much more strongly about them than they did with me, and that's okay because
Right.
we have to clean house, right?
Mm.
Things break in our own home. Eventually, our favorite shirt gets a tear in it, and maybe we turn it into a
Yes.
work shirt or a garden shirt.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
so the point of
Yeah.
all this is you have to be willing. You have to be willing to see the truth and
Right.
acknowledge it, and certainly to stand up for your own sanity.
Right. And what also occurred to me a little while ago is that you relate because you're the same as me in that regard, and you're always been young at heart. So was I, always. And it never occurred to me that there was something like a generation gap.
Ah,
Never occurred to me.
nope, same.
And I never thought that this thing would occur in my life. And guess what? It freaking happened. It slapped me right in the face. And it becomes so obvious to me. And it's not anybody's fault in any way. It's not even my own fault. It just happens. It's there.
Oh,
And
sure.
that was pretty confronting, I must say. I accepted it, but it's very confronting. I go like, I guess I'm not one of the guys anymore, right? Yeah, I'm becoming an older man now.
Well, you're just
Something
you're
like
you're
that.
just one of
Yeah.
the you're one of the different, excuse me, you're one of the different group of guys.
Yeah,
It
you
it's
are.
not
Yeah.
it's an evolution for both of us. The joke
Yes.
is you and I, can both agree here. We're at an age now where the time we go to bed is the time where we used to
Yeah.
get up to get ready to go out
Yeah,
years ago.
exactly. Yeah. And looking in the mirror and not recognizing the guy you see, you go like, what the fuck? Is that me? I'm getting old, mate. I'm getting old.
I don't see
Yes, you do.
here's the difference. I don't think of it in those terms because
Oh,
mentally I still I'm I'm still an idiot. I'm still immature. I still do
yeah, yeah, of
like
course.
Addison was having a conversation with one of her friends, and she put her phone down for a moment, and I picked up the phone and I sent a text message, and the text message said, "BRB, I have to change my diaper." And she came back and lost her. What are you I can't believe you. But her friend's like, oh, can we trade dads? Your dad is so cool. It's like, no, he's not. No, that's what makes him cool. So, for me, I think I think bridge building never goes out of style when it comes to relationships. And yeah, I'm not going to understand why I thought it was cool to have Van Halen playing with the windows down in my car and the speakers in the back going boom, boom, boom. I mean, I just never did. I never did. Now, I mean, if I'm screaming down a highway listening to Carry On My Wayward Son or something like that, then sure, it's different. But at a red light, everybody within 10 cars can hear boom, boom. And that's kind of obnoxious. And when you're younger, you're like, whatever. Eat a bag if you don't like the noise I'm making. But as you get older, you're
Eat a
like,
bag of dicks.
not terribly considerate. And that's the
It
thing that
is.
shows that
Yeah.
we're growing, we're evolving, we're maturing, and we understand why relationship building is important.
Mhm.
Because when we're younger, we don't always understand this. And
Yeah.
and betrayals come fast and hard. But as you get older,
Yeah.
betrayals hurt more, but you and I are both very particular about the people we let in.
Mm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Well, I am for sure. I, um, yeah, I am. Although, if you're open to me, I'm open to you, and
Correct.
I'll give you a chance.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
And the thing is, what has changed is that I noticed very early on who's fucking around with me,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
I couldn't do that when I was younger. I just
No.
didn't see it. Yeah, well, that always my girlfriends were always better than me in that regard. They always go like, ah,
That
yeah, whatever. Yeah, well,
that
come on,
right
he's
there, that
and they
right
go like,
there
ah, nah,
is
he's great, she's great, they're nice. Yeah,
no,
oh, no,
well,
they're
yeah,
not.
you're excusing or you're
Yeah,
forgiving or you're making excuses for certain behavior. You're
yeah,
giving them a
but you don't
pass.
want to see it. I don't
Anytime
know,
I we have all been guilty of saying, well, that's just so and so, that's how they are. But, you get to a place
for
later in
instance.
life where you
Yeah,
recognize all you're doing is enabling them and giving them permission. You're giving them a pass to be an asshole. And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
terrible. It's terrible for you. It's terrible for others. It's terrible for them because if they think it's okay, they've
yeah,
got a rude awakening waiting for them as they get older and find fewer and
yeah.
fewer people around them.
Oh,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? Does that
Yes,
make sense? And that's
yes,
something
absolutely.
that's something everybody should do. Let the people you're building a Rolodex of people
Yeah,
that are important to you, people that are
yeah,
your literal and figurative ride or die zombie apocalypse crew. These are the people you want
right.
with you. You don't want if you're getting ready to face down the zombie horde,
Mm,
you want the people next to you to be next to you. You
yeah,
don't want to be braced for whatever's going to happen. And then you look around and you're the only person in the room.
right. Yeah,
That, like I said, it's a corny saying, but the difference between a friend and a good friend. And we need the good friends in our lives because those are the people we have deep, long, multi-hour conversations into the night, whether you're sitting buck-ass naked in a hot tub or you're driving to another country in another city. And
yeah, yeah.
those
Yeah.
conversations are all core memories. They're all part of the things we build and put on the shelf for the people that are important to us. It's like your garden. Every single component in your finished garden has a place and a purpose. Every single part. You don't look at any part of your garden and go, I'm not sure what that's doing, but whatever.
You're the same. If I look around you in this very screenshot, the only thing I see is memories.
That's
If
right.
somebody who doesn't know you and watches this podcast goes like, "Where is he? Is he in
Yeah.
a? Is this a? Are you in a museum or a gallery or are you
Yeah.
what? Or are you in an office?
It's
They
all
don't think it's in your house
no, it's all it
because it
is
doesn't look.
what
Neither
you
as
said.
me. I'm not sitting in a.
That's it.
I'm sitting
That's
in
it.
my living room.
But it is all intentional and it's not a look at me. It's a this is what I bring to you. I shared this story a couple of weeks ago. The very first time I was in the Elberg Centrum
Mm.
with you and Ivana, I watched four gorgeous, leggy Dutch blondes get out of the equivalent of a Ford Fiesta, and they were beautiful, and they were dressed so nice. And I made the comment about it, and Yvonne said something in Dutch. I didn't understand what it was, but you said something like "ach wel," and then you said to me that Dutch people tend to dress for everyone else. We dress nice to show respect to others. And I went, yeah, that shit don't work in America that way. Most people aren't taught to do that. But whenever I travel, whenever I fly, you'll always see me showing up wearing a sport coat or a jacket. I always dress nice. I don't care where in the plane
Yes,
I'm
you do.
sitting. And
I noticed.
and that that
Yeah,
part that struck me that I
great.
saw that. And I think if we all start doing that, you
Yeah.
see a much greater track of relationships and people in your life who mean something. And we no
Oh,
longer have to make excuses for people that are saying things we don't agree with. I will not
oh,
I will not ever anymore say, well, that's so and so, that's how they are. And when I hear someone else say it, I say, so what you're doing is you're excusing their poor judgment and bad behavior. Well, no, I'm yes, you are. because when you say that's so and so and that's how they are, you're saying, yeah, they're saying some asshole things. They're mean, whatever it is about them, but that's just too, okay,
Yeah.
fine. You've made a choice to let them be a part of your life. For me, you have to be willing to amend the way you speak or behave. I have friends on the spectrum. I have friends with children who have Down syndrome. I have friends who, um, they are or behave a certain way, and the sensitivity to that is really important to me. And conversely, if you're being an asshole just for the sake of being an asshole, that's just not going to work with me. And I don't think it works with you because I know I will always go back to that one day at KSM, King Solomon's Mine, where I was being an asshole. You called me
Right.
on it.
Well, you have to just being truthful to yourself and also to the other one, the other person. And it's a it always comes down to you have to be responsible for your own behavior. If you start whitewashing other people's behavior, you keep letting them do it, and it's not
Yes.
good.
Yeah. And
You have to
it gets
learn.
it
You
gets
have to
worse.
learn. You have to learn being a better person. You're
Yep.
denying him
That's right.
or this possibility.
That's right. And
And
yeah.
it's not that you're the wisest person in the room. I don't mean that at all. But it's
Well,
if you
that's correct.
detect it or you think you see it, at least you have to say it because your view gives somebody else the insight that maybe he is not doing a good enough job, or maybe do something different. It's
I
possible.
will, and I will
I had
ask
that lesson.
if I think someone is doing, I was like, I will ask for clarification. What do you mean by that? Because I need to
For
know.
instance, yes.
Because I will also
Yeah,
say, just so you know, the way you said that, this is what I heard. And
right.
I think that's a really fascinating thing to get that kind of
Hmm.
clarification because if you don't, over time, it's degrees of change. It's a little bit of a jerk and then more of a jerk and then more of a jerk and then more of a jerk. And as that gap grows wider, they go from jerk to ass to full-blown asshole. No, neither one of us have time for that in our lives. And I think this right here, not a single one of us has a problem if someone is filling our cup with coffee to say when, right? Someone comes in, all right, say when. Sure. And when. So why do we have a problem saying that with people?
Because you don't want to hurt their feelings sometimes, or you don't want to be an ass yourself. That's two really good reasons, I guess.
So how do you
Um,
get around that?
well, you don't. You just have to be upfront. Just say it. It's the
Sometimes,
only thing you can do. And then you can be an asshole in the eyes of the person you're talking to. But
guess what?
later on down the line, they might appreciate you for it. And that's the whole thing
Correct.
we're talking about,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the moment, you cannot control what people hear. You can control what you
No, that's true.
say, but they're going to hear what they want to hear. And
Yeah,
and they that is
that's true.
it's conversational bias, it's echo chamber BS. That people are like, this is what I need to
Right.
hear, only this.
Indoctrination could be
Yes. Yes.
indoctrination. Yeah.
So and
That's
sometimes
the
they
elephant
don't.
in the room.
But
That's the elephant in the room of the world today.
we're going to talk
People
about
are,
that. We're
yeah.
going to talk about that in the next episode because we're wrapping up this one. But I'm going to tell you what you just brought up.
Yeah.
I, in the moment, bristled when you called me out for being an asshole. But 5 minutes later, I was thinking about
Right.
it and I thought, I like Tone and he's right. And I should not have said that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if
So,
I would have shut up you never would have
I
would
wouldn't
have
have
known.
known. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
known. And these things are
you,
important because relationships to me
yeah,
are paramount. There's nothing
right.
more important than a relationship and the communication that's the foundation
Yeah,
to a good relationship. It's just
absolutely.
so I will close by saying to everyone out there who's listening or watching, nurture the relationships that mean something to you. And for everyone else, call them on their BS. Call them on the things that they
Yeah,
say that are rude or inappropriate, and don't be afraid of the fallout. Whether you're talking about a personal relationship, if you're talking about work or corporate environment, if you're talking about a production, all of
yeah,
those
could be
things are really
anything.
important, especially if you've got
Yes,
time that you're going to invest with these individuals. So you want to
yes,
make sure
yeah,
you're at a place where you can communicate. But if you can't, or if you think it is toxic, you don't need to be a part of it. Get out, let them go, move on. And that applies to whether we're talking about
yeah.
people, places, events, corporations, and things.
Anywhere. Yeah. I would like to add to that as well that everybody's human and everybody makes mistakes, and you can be an asshole too. And so can I. Everybody can. And if you
Agreed.
think you're never an asshole,
You're the
then you
biggest
probably
asshole.
are. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. The person in the room who
Yeah,
thinks they're not the asshole is the biggest asshole. It's like
most of the
the
time.
person in the
Yeah.
room who thinks they're the smartest person in the room is
Yeah.
not ever the smartest person in the room.
Yeah. And you can change. And the only one who's going to do it is you.
I agree, man.
Nobody else can.
I agree.
Nobody else can. And if you're calling to the heavens for guidance, it's not going to happen. You have to do it yourself.
Yeah, you're going to get
Oh,
as much
sorry.
guidance
That's my
as you will.
opinion.
You'll get as much guidance as you will if you throw dice on the floor, pick up your magic crazy eight ball, and look
Yeah.
at it as you ask a
Or
question.
yeah, or read the goat's intestinals or intestines. Or a couple of tea leaves.
Ah,
Yeah. Funny. Yeah.
what a great conversation. I really enjoyed this one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, click
Dames en
like, click
heren.
subscribe,
Yeah.
tell your friends,
Share
tell
it
your
with your
family.
friends. Yeah.
As always,
Please.
please share with us any topics you'd like us to talk about,
And
and we will
please,
see you
please hit
see you
like.
on the yeah, please hit like. Please, the more likes, you know what? Uh how about we get 10,000 likes and I will do the ice bucket challenge. Oh, I can't believe I
Oh,
said,
really?
yeah. Yeah,
Oof.
10,000 likes and subscribers. 10,000 likes and subscribers and I will do the ice bucket challenge.
Right. But you live
Shirt
in Florida, so that
Shirtless.
bad.
Yeah, but ice water is still ice water, baby.
I know. I know. I never did it. So anyway, yeah. So it's also really funny because sometimes people say they're being disingenuous about the like things. They go like, "Oh, I want you to hit like and subscribe. That'll help the channel grow." Yeah. Why do you want it to grow? Why do you want it to
Right.
grow?
Right.
Because you would like to share the things that you say,
Yep.
or do you want the channel to grow?
Right.
That's
I mean,
funny.
for us, that would be great, but the reality is
No,
we're
yeah,
two
I
old
know.
friends who love to have conversations about a
Yeah,
variety of topics, and there's so much in our
yeah,
background and history worth sharing that we record it for posterity and share with
yeah,
others.
right. And most of the time, it's just like the things we talk about is think stuff for like regular people, and
Yeah,
it's
correct.
not pretentious. It's
Precis.
not abrasive, and abrasive
No,
gives you likes, and that's not
it's not
where we're
us.
coming from. It's
No,
not that we cannot be
no, it's
abrasive
true.
or confrontational, but
We're the warm and fuzzy cuddly alternative.
yeah. Well, we can be if you want
Yep,
us to be. We
that's
can be.
true.
We're gonna be honest. We're gonna be honest about it.
Also
Yeah.
true.
Oh, I would love to recommend if you want abrasive and honest, watch The Quad. That's awesome.
There it
You can find
is.
the
There it
description and
is.
link below.
There's a
Yeah.
plug. We
Have you seen it?
I
Awesome.
have not. I have not, but I will
Oh
check it
yeah.
out. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, thank you for listening, for watching, for sharing your thoughts, ideas, and insights on not only this, but anything that you'd like to hear about. And we will see you on the next one. Tone, last word?
Yes. Yes. Um, we talked about this and we agreed on putting a topic in that comes back every week. And maybe you want to participate in that as our potential audience.
Yes.
Is that the elephant in the room?
That's another elephant. There's plenty of them.
Yeah. So
Yes.
maybe there are people who go like, yeah, maybe you should talk about that.
Yes.
Something that everybody
Let's do it.
that's on everybody's mind, but
Let's do
nobody
it.
really talks about it.
Let's do it.
Very curious. Yeah, okay. Cool. Goed.
Later.
Tot ziens.